Officials appear ready to seal off an illicit point to the Villages. A sinkhole has been discovered in a busy tunnel in the Villages. PWAC approves $2.197 million bid on renovations of 2 golf courses. Out-of-state owner learns a rental home is trashed in the Villages. Home in the Villages sustains minor damage during a violent storm and a golf cart tunnel is flooded. Independent living facility near Brownwood to feature a pickleball court. Unwanted delivery of the Daily Sun newspaper is causing a safety concern. A landscaper with firearm turns violent during an arrest at Wawa. An unlicensed driver from Mexico arrested after a 3-vehicle accident. Birthday girl celebration ends with a golf cart crash in the Villages. No holes in ones this week. Letters to the editor. This and more coming up. Okay, here's going to be some updates that we're going to do real quick and get them out of the way. An 81-year-old villager will lose his driver's license after a crash resulted in a drunk driving arrest. John Joseph Marshall of the village of Fernandina pleaded no contest this past week in Sumter County Court to a charge of driving under the influence. He will lose his license for 6 months and has been placed on probation for 1 year and must perform 80 hours of community service. That's his update. Update number 2. A Village of St. John's woman has been ordered to perform community service as a result of a pair of theft arrests. Kershma, engineer, 56, has been placed on probation for 1 year and ordered to perform 80 hours of community service as a result of a pair of arrests in theft cases at Lowe's Home Improvements at Trailwinds. Engineer was arrested on April 24th after stealing plants, paper towels, and other merchandise worth $473. An earlier theft came to light when Lowe's security personnel began re-examining surveillance footage and discovered that engineer had stolen artisan weave mist wallpaper, a 52-inch Amica Aeroflow fan, a soap on a rope bundle pack, and foliage baskets worth $826 on April 22nd. There is one theft case still pending in Sumter County. 2 Missouri vacationers won't be charged in a girl fight in the Villages. The prosecutor's office announced this past week in Sumter County Court that 31-year-old Catherine Northrup of St. Peters, Missouri, and a 28-year-old Gina Danford of Fenton, Missouri, will not be charged as a result of their arrest on May 6th after an altercation at a home in the village of Citrus Grove. Prior to the announcement of no information, Northrup's attorney had filed a motion indicating a self-defense claim was in the works. Officers had been called to a home on Rudell Way where the women were staying while vacationing in Florida. A villager has lost his driver's license after an arrest for driving under the influence in a golf cart at Town Square. William Bruce Campbell, 65, of the village of Collier's a good location, pleaded no contest this past week in Sumter County Court to a charge of driving under the influence. He will lose his license for 6 months, has been placed on probation for 1 year, and has been ordered to perform 50 hours of community service. An Audi driving snowbird has won a break in a drunk driving case in the Villages. Russell Snyder, 73, of Boston, Mass., pleaded no contest this past week in Sumter County Court to a reduced charge of reckless driving. He had been facing a charge of driving under the influence. He has been placed on probation for 6 months and has been ordered to perform 50 hours of community service. That's quite a few updates today. I think this is the last update for now. The prosecutor's office has decided not to pursue a case against a pickup driver who had been accused of showing a gun and cursing a damn Yankee motorist. James Martin Harris, 54, of Somerville, has been refunded his $10,000 bond and seen 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon dismissed, following an announcement of no information this past month in Sumter County Court. That means the people that he threatened refused to file charges. Shame on you. Well, I believe that's all the updates. Let's move on to some news. Let's have some more news. Officials appear ready to seal off an illicit entry point to the Villages. The Amenity Authority Committee will take up an agenda item this week simply under the heading Palermo Lady Lake Multimodal Path Access. There is no supporting documentation explaining the agenda. A path from the Lady Lake driving range off Rolling Acres Road offers access to Palermo Place in the village of Valle Verde and essentially provides a backdoor entrance via golf cart to the villages. For many years, non-villagers have used this as a way to drive their golf carts to venues inside the villages. The route is a favorite for residents of the Recreation Plantation located off County Road 466. Those residents regularly cross Rolling Acres Road and use their golf carts to enter into the villages via Palermo Place. The AAC, which oversees amenities north of County Road 466, will meet at 9 a.m. Wednesday at Savannah Center. They've been doing that for years. They go from it's a campground basically, but they got part-time homes over there too. And some of them RVers are full-time RVers, and they stay there year-round. And they drive their golf cart across Rolling Acres Road and get on that golf cart path and come in the back way. They've done it for years. I'm not even sure if going across Rolling Acres Road is even legal in a golf cart. Street legal? That's questionable. A regular golf cart? I don't think so. I don't think it's even legal to cross Rolling Acres Road. But anyway, they're looking into it. The developer is backing a villager who is challenging an incumbent Wildwood official. Phil Montalvo of the village of Linden is hoping to unseat longtime Commissioner Julian Green. Montalvo is enjoying the financial backing of the villages, according to the campaign disclosure on file with the Sumter County Supervisor of Elections Office. Contributions to Montalvo campaign include $1,000 from the villages of Lake Sumter, $1,000 from the holding company of the villages. He also has collected $1,000 contributions from Mike Scott Plumbing and Galaxy Home Solutions. Montalvo also made a personal loan of $1,200 to his campaign. Montalvo is currently serving as a supervisor in Community Development District 12. I'd like to know, was he elected or was he appointed in there by the developer? He practiced law for 40 years in Illinois, Wisconsin, and numerous other state and federal courts. Green is a graduate of Wildwood High School and earned a bachelor's degree of science and public administration and political science at Florida A&M University. Montalvo and Green will be competing for seat 5 on the Wildwood Commission. All of the residents of Wildwood, which includes an increasing area of the villages, will be casting ballots in the nonpartisan seat number 5. Well, good luck to them. A tunnel that serves as an important transportation artery will close later this month for repair after the discovery of a sinkhole. The sinkhole activity was discovered in May at Tunnel M18 at Morse Boulevard and Megason Trail. The project-wide advisory committee on Monday heard an update on the status of the tunnel. Structural engineers have identified no immediate public safety hazards, said Mike Harris of District Property Management. However, they do recommend that the geological anomalies be remediated and the soil stabilized. Andrea of Engineering Incorporated will be paid $114,840 to perform the recommended concrete grout injection at the site. In addition to the Andrea of Engineering Incorporated proposal, there will be cost for maintenance of traffic and potential property repairs such as landscaping, asphalt repairs, which are estimated to be an additional $45,000. The remediation project for M18 tunnel is estimated to have an approximate cost of $160,000. The previous geological investigation cost $42,568, bringing the total project to $207,000. Harris said the repair will be performed by moderate impact on local traffic, needing a single-lane closure in the northbound and southbound lanes of Morse Boulevard for concrete trucks to park near the tunnel. Sumter County has approved the road right-of-way closure permit. There will be alternating closures of the multimodal path connecting to the tunnel as the work progresses. The connection of Corbin Trail to McNeil Drive will allow multimodal path traffic to be rerouted during the tunnel closure. The repair is critical and requires urgency to ensure the structural integrity of the tunnel and safety for the public, Harris said. Once approved, this repair is tentatively scheduled to begin at the end of July. The duration of the repair work is anticipated to take approximately 2 weeks or less to complete. A villager was arrested on a drunk driving charge after knocking down a one-way traffic sign with her BMW. Bonnie Lou Cook, 77, of the village of St. Catherine, was driving a white BMW sedan shortly before 11 p.m. Saturday when she hit the sign in a roundabout on Megason Road at Cason Hammock Path near Sawgrass Grove, according to the arrest report from the Wildwood Police Department. An officer found the one-way road sign was in two pieces lying on the grassy roundabout. It was broken in half and a pole was broken out of the concrete slate. The BMW was resting on the curb of the roundabout and the front passenger tire was flat. Cook initially denied damaging the sign and claimed it was already broken. The New Jersey native had slurred speech and was unsteady on her feet. "I had 3 glasses of wine," she told the police officer. She struggled through field sobriety exercise and eventually opted to skip the remaining exercises. She provided breath samples that registered .141 and .144 blood alcohol content. She was checked out at the UF Health Freestanding Emergency Room Clinic at Brownwood due to the accident. After she was medically cleared, she was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. She was released the following morning. The project-wide advisory committee has approved a $2.197 million bid for the renovation of 2 golf courses in the villages. The winning bid for the renovation of the Pimlico and Pelican executive golf courses was submitted by Westscapes LLC. I always liked Pelican. There's a lot of people that don't, but it's not easy, but I like it. Challenging. Both golf courses will receive a full renovation consisting of new greens, tees, fairways with new turf varieties, new bunker sand and under drain systems, as well as course enhancements. The projects had been budgeted at $2.7 million, therefore PWAC is seeing a considerable savings on the work from what had been budgeted. An out-of-state owner learned from law enforcement that the interior of his rental home in the villages was trashed by a tenant. Sumter County Sheriff's deputies responded to a 911 call Sunday night at a home on Williams Road in the village of Palo Ridge. A man had arrived home and found that his roommate, 41-year-old Andreas Alvarez, had vandalized the interior of the home during a rage episode. The man said he and Alvarez had been renting the fully furnished home for about 3 months. He said that Alvarez was known to use drugs and exhibited paranoia behavior. Alvarez had turned the heat up, was screaming out loud, and repeatedly set off his car alarm. When the deputies entered the home, they found that a glass dining table had been shattered. There was human feces on the living room carpet. Lamps were broken, furniture was upended, and there was recent vomit found throughout the home, the report said. The entire house smelled of sour milk. The neighbor said he returned home and saw a man lying on his back in the grass in the front yard. The neighbor said the man appeared to be disturbed. A deputy used his phone to FaceTime the owner of the home, who lives out of state, and review the property damage with him. The owner estimated damage was about $5,000. Alvarez, who had been convicted in 2005 of destruction of property in Miami-Dade County, was arrested on a charge of felony criminal mischief. The New Jersey native was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center on a $2,500 bond. If you're going to rent these places out, why are you renting them out to douchebags? Why don't you rent them out to age-appropriate people in a 55-plus community and quit renting them out to kids and all these people that's on drugs? It said right on there that the person that he was sharing the house with knew he took drugs. If a rental company does this has been my complaint about rental companies. And I don't know if this was done by a property management company or not, but they don't care. They just want to keep that money rolling in every month, and they don't care about nothing else. So if you're going to rent your home out and you're going to use a rental company, you better do your checking, and you better double check it and then triple check it again. My only advice about renting a house, and I rented one out for 5 years. I never had one iota of a problem except once, and it was a minor problem that I took care of real quick. I rented out to age-appropriate people. A village of Sunset Point home sustained minor damage in a lightning strike Monday as a violent storm swept through the villages. We've had a few lightning strikes here in the last month. The village's public safety department was called out 7:02 p.m. to the home on Hartsville Trail. Firefighters were on the scene a short time after finding no fire or smoke or only minimal damage due to a lightning strike. There were no injuries. The storm produced torrential rain that flooded a tunnel under Morse Boulevard near the bridge at Lake Sumter. In June, 2 homes in the villages were damaged by lightning strikes. Yes, and I reported them, and I also showed pictures of the homes after the strike. A 164-unit senior independent living facility will be built on the north side of County Road 44A, about a quarter of a mile northwest of Powell Road, near Brownwood. Special Magistrate Lindsay C.T. Holt recommended approval of the site plan for the Wild Liberty Senior Center at a meeting Tuesday of the Wildwood Planning and Zoning Board. The 167,118 square foot, 4-story project on about 6 acres features a pool, pickleball court, butterfly garden, dog park, a dog wash area, as well as 2 charging spaces for electric vehicles. Units will be built around a courtyard, and garage spaces will be available. You know what that means, right? Available? It means you don't get a garage with your house. If you want a garage, it's extra rent. City sewer and water easements will be done in conjunction with projects on adjacent properties. The developer is Liberty Senior Living Properties, LLC of Wildwood. A resident contends that the unwanted delivery of free papers of the village's Daily Sun has been causing a safety concern in his neighborhood. And they do. Mark Rhodes, who lives in the Cameron Villas in the village of Calumet Grove, took his concerns before the Amenity Authority Committee on Wednesday at Savannah Center. He said the Daily Sun has been delivering free newspapers to homes in his villa community. He said it is worrisome because many of the recipients are snowbirds. The newspapers are piling up at the homes, sending a clear signal that no one is home. How would a resident know the papers are piling up when they haven't subscribed and they don't know they are being delivered? Rhodes said he contacted the Daily Sun but was told the newspapers would continue to be delivered because they have been paid for by the sponsor. Rhodes said he discovered that Lexus of Wesley Chapel was sponsoring deliveries of the newspaper. The 9-year resident of the Cameron Villa said it is not the regular morning Daily Sun drivers who are delivering the free newspapers, but rather a second driver making the delivery later in the day. Rhodes was also concerned that more work is being created for Community Watch by having drivers pick up and remove the newspapers. However, Community Watch Chief Nehemiah Wolf said his agency does not have an agreement to pick up any unwanted newspapers. AAC Chair Donna Kempa said the AAC has no authority over the delivery of free newspapers by the Daily Sun. It's a commercial enterprise. We have no control over it, Kempa said. I really don't know why the Daily Sun would spend the money to deliver newspapers to people who don't want them. AAC member Dom Deacon said there have been previous complaints about the Daily Sun delivering the free newspaper. Now, this complaint's been done many times. This is not the first time we've heard about this. We have heard about it from other residents who are picking up the newspapers from homes in the neighborhood, Deacon said. And may I say, we do it here. Sue does it around us. The neighbor next door's not here. We pick everything up off their driveway. Everything from the Homeowners Association free pamphlets they throw on the driveway, to the Daily Sun newspaper, to all the free stuff they just drive by in a golf cart and throw it on the driveway. They don't know who's here. They just doing a job. So Sue gets theirs. The Canadian's on the corner. She picks that one up. She picks up Judy's over here if they're not home. Our neighbors. We don't pick them up through the whole neighborhood. We just get the ones around us. But the biggest concern is if you're a junkie, you're somebody looking to rob somebody, you're a thief, you're somebody with no morals, all you got to do is drive through a neighborhood. And you see it all the time. I keep trying to point out these little things. If you're a snowbird, if you're taking off for a month or two, make sure these things are being done, because your house is going to be pegged. Somebody's going to say, there's nobody there. They see them papers piled up there. They see grass growing in your driveway between the expansion cracks. Those little signs right there. Somebody's going to go up there in the middle of the day when you should be home. They're going to knock on your door, ring a doorbell, all this kind of stuff. You don't answer. They're coming back later that night probably, and they're going to come through your lanai in the back, and they're going to rob you. Now, the easiest way to handle this is if you're going to take off, or if you're a snowbird, hire a home watch service, a good one. I had one that took care of me for 5 years. I never had these issues. They get paid like $40, $50 a month, and you sleep well at night, and these issues get taken care of. A New Yorker was arrested after he couldn't produce a prescription for pills found during a traffic stop in the southern end of the Villages.
A New Yorker
was arrested after he couldn't find a prescription for pills found during a traffic stop in the southern end of the Villages. Joseph Bolanos, 28, of Bayside, New York, was driving a black 2003 Hyundai passenger car on Tuesday night when he ran a stop sign, and a traffic stop was initiated on Bexley Trail, according to the arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. Bolanos was identified by his
New York
driver's license. A K-9 unit arrived on the scene and a dog alerted on the vehicle, indicating the likely presence of drugs. A search of a suitcase turned up for Adderall pills, for which Bolanos could not produce a prescription. He said he had the pills for his road trip from New York to Florida. He was arrested on a felony charge of drug possession and issued a traffic warning for failure to stop at a stop sign. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $2,500 bond. A landscaper with a firearm turned violent during an arrest at a local Wawa. Officers responded Friday afternoon to the Wawa on County Road 466 and U.S. Highway 27 and 441 to investigate a report of an armed person possibly shooting a firearm, according to an arrest report from the Lady Lake Police Department. 4 officers arrived on the scene and zeroed in a vehicle at one of the gas pumps. They found 34-year-old Jose Miguel Fontanez, name will be in the picture. We're going to call him Joe, of Leesburg, who had a Glock firearm concealed in a fanny pack he was wearing. The native of Puerto Rico is a convicted felon and therefore not allowed to possess a firearm. As he was taken into custody, he became increasingly violent, and officers took him to the ground, securing him in handcuffs and leg cuffs. A criminal history check revealed Joe was convicted of aggravated assault in January and of battery in April. He is currently on probation. Officers initially transported Joe to U of Health Leesburg Hospital for a medical evaluation. After he was medically cleared, he was arrested on charges of possession of a firearm and resisting arrest. He was booked at the Lake County Jail, apparently with no bond. An unlicensed driver from Mexico was arrested after a 3-vehicle accident on U.S. Highway 27 and 441. Brandon Hernandez, 21, of Lady Lake, was driving a vehicle at about 8:30 p.m. Saturday when he rear-ended another vehicle and pushed that vehicle into a third vehicle. All 3 vehicles sustained minor damage. There were no injuries. An officer investigating the crash required assistance from a translator as Hernandez only speaks Spanish. The officer found Hernandez does not have a driver's license issued in the United States. He was arrested on a charge of driving without a license. He was also ticketed on charges of following too closely and no proof of insurance. He was taken into custody and booked at the Lake County Jail. He was released after posting a $500 bond. Tell us what happened to his car. Residents of the villages are demanding that their neighbor bring his shingle collar back into compliance. The home of Timothy Wise at 1207 Santa Cruz in the San Leandro Villas was the subject of a D-compliance hearing Thursday afternoon before the Community Development District 2 Board of Supervisors at Savannah Center. Wise said the shingle collar, tan mist, was approved by the Agricultural Review Committee with the stipulation that it be the closest possible match to the shingle collar used in the villa community. He said a roofer recommended by a realtor suggested tan mist shingles after using the satellite photo to make the match. I wasn't going to put a purple roof on or anything crazy like that, Wise testified before the CD2 board. We put the appropriate collar approved by the ARC on the house. Jeff Shama, who lodged the complaint about the shingles with community standards, pointed out Wise's shingles are grayish, while every other home has desert tan, which has more of the reddish tone. Shama added that desert tan is used throughout the villages and it is still available in the architectural shingle. I've mentioned this before, let me do it real quick. You can't go to Lowe's, you can't go to Home Depot and get any shingles that's going to match your house here in the villages. None that I ever seen. Another resident, Rick Osborne, suggested Wise is stubbornly justifying his shingles choice, which is sticking out like a sore thumb. This is an affront to what the rest of us are doing, Osborne said. San Leandro Villas resident James Hudick said he worked as a union carpenter for many years. The contractor should have looked at those shingles and looked around the neighborhood and stopped the job. I agree with that. It was a point that resonated with CDD2 Board of Supervisors Chairman Bart Zollner. By the time the first bundle of shingles went on, he should have seen it was the wrong color and should have stopped the job. He asked Wise if he was home at the time and monitoring the job. Wise said he was home, but did not believe there was a problem. He has been given 90 days to bring the roof back into compliance. Remedies could range from extending the existing shingles to putting on a new roof. Community standards will determine if the home is in compliance. I'm going to tell you something that my dad taught me a long time ago and I never forgot. Cover your ass. A road impact fee hike. Sumter County's hottest issue over the past several years is back on the county agenda. A recent study by Alfred Benish and Company recommends a 50% increase for the single-family resident lots, the maximum allowed by state law, which would be phased in 4 installments. The first increase would take effect January 1. Commissioner voted Tuesday night to schedule a September 17 public hearing on the proposed increase. They also scheduled a public hearing on fire assessment fees the same night. This is a bad move. Factoring in road design and construction costs, the study recommends fees of $3,999 per lot for single-family homes and $1,458 per lot in age-restricted areas. About 45% of the new single-family homes are expected to be age-restricted due to the growth of the villages. Current fees are $2,666 for a single-family lot and $972 for an age-restricted lot. Roads in the villages are built under a cost-sharing agreement in which the Sumter County reimburses the villages for the construction cost and maintains the roads. Fees are based on the amount of expected traffic. The impact fees for a fast food restaurant with a drive-through window would rise to $42,591 under the study recommendations. The increases are expected to generate $8.8 million to $13.5 million per year, depending on the number of building permits. Road impact fees were a hard-fought issue in 2021 when commissioners approved a 75% hike that would have boosted fees for the village's developer to $1,701 per lot. 3 commissioners were elected in 2019 after incumbents were ousted over a 24% property tax increase. They viewed the fees as a way to ease the tax burden on homeowners. Overflow crowds, including construction workers and small business owners, appeared at public hearings to protest the hikes. They were rescinded by a state law effective July 1, but retroactive to January 1 that year. That restricted single impact fee increases to 12.5%. The legislation was co-sponsored by then State Representative Brett Haig. As crooked as the day is long, Brett Haig was on the salary of the developer, passing laws to benefit the developer, and they've never been investigated. R33, who received a 6-figure annual salary from the villages. That's what I'm talking about. County Chairman Craig Estep and Commissioner Orrin Miller were among those who approved the 2021 fee hike. You know, it may not be illegal. I don't know that it is or ain't. But doesn't it seem funny that a state representative that's there to represent the citizens of the state of Florida and his district is on a salary payroll of the largest developer probably in Florida? He wanted to get something done which would benefit him, but he couldn't because of a law. He needed a law passed or changed, which allowed the developer to do what he wanted to do. And then we find out later that Haig was on his salary, getting a 6-figure every year. That just seems kinky to me. A birthday girl celebration ended with a golf cart crash in the villages. Martha Lynn Knatz of Leesburg was celebrating her 71st birthday on Wednesday when she was at the wheel of a golf cart involved in a crash at about 6 p.m. in the area of Bouchard Boulevard and La Plaza Parkway, according to a rush report from the Lady Lake Police Department. That's up by Spanish Springs. Knatz said she was on her way to a restaurant to celebrate her birthday. She admitted she had had a few sips of champagne. Sips. The native of Portugal agreed to participate in field sobriety exercises, but her poor performance prompted police to conclude she had been driving impaired. She admitted she had taken a half a pill. Half a pill of what? Before sipping champagne. She said she was unsure if the label on the bottle warned against driving after taking the medication. Her breath sample registered 000 blood alcohol content. Knatz agreed to provide a urine sample, which had been sent to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for analysis. She was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence. She was booked at the Lake County Jail and released after posting a $1,000 bond. I keep telling you, drunk drivers, half the population's on prescription pills. An unlicensed driver from Mexico was arrested after he was caught behind the wheel. Miguel Soto Garcia, 24, of Bushnell, was driving a black passenger vehicle shortly before 5 p.m. Wednesday in Bushnell when a deputy ran a vehicle's license plate check and discovered the registered owner did not have a valid driver's license. During a traffic stop, the deputy confirmed that Soto Garcia has never obtained a driver's license in the United States, though he has been in the country for 4 years. He was identified by his Mexican passport. He was arrested on a charge of driving without a license. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $500 bond. I don't know why somebody from a foreign country that's been here, say, 4, 5, 6, 10 years, whatever, and they don't have a driver's license. I just don't understand why not. What is it about our driver's license system that prohibits them from getting a driver's license? Because you know they'd get it if they could. I'm going to say maybe a social security number? I don't know. Just curious. Does anybody out there know? Here's something that could be a deal for somebody if they ever put these things up for sale. A dead couple's home, which is in foreclosure, was the subject of a public hearing Friday in the Villages. Frank and June Miano purchased the home at 1805 San Luis Lane in the village of Tierra del Sol South in 1996 for $133,900. They were the home's original owner. Frank Marie died in 2020 at age 94, the Massachusetts native who served in the military during World War II and in Korea War, was preceded in death by his wife of 62 years. The abandoned home has fallen into neglect and has become a neighborhood eyesore, according to the testimony presented during the hearing before the Community Development District 1 Board of Supervisors. Nobody knows the condition of the inside of the house. They both died, and the kids came and took the appliances and haven't been back, said Michael Gwynn, who lives next door. He and his wife and their neighbors have been living with the consequences of the neglect. There are snakes, there are rats, he said. He said the neighbor on the other side of Miano home hired Massey Services Pest Prevention, which put out traps and caught 2 rats. Gwynn said Virginia creeper grew from the abandoned home onto his property. He said $100 to have it cut back. He said his wife is highly allergic to Virginia creeper. The CDD1 board found that the home is out of compliance due to the overgrown grass, weeds, and shrubs. There is also mold growing on the house. The board granted 7 days for the house to be brought back into compliance. If the house is not brought back into compliance, fines will be imposed. A lien will also be placed on the home. Official implores developer to listen to residents on short-term rentals. Nancy Barbat thought she'd be living out her retirement dream when she bought her home in the Villages. After she settled into her home in the village of Calumet Grove, she began taking note of the many short-term rentals in Florida's
friendliest hometown,
operated by Airbnb, VRBO, and others. She soon discovered that the Villages does not have a policy on short-term rentals. No, never did. Barbat took her concerns before the Community Development District 4 Board of Supervisors on Friday at Savannah Center. While supervisors have no authority when it comes to short-term rentals, they offered some sympathy with regard to the ever-growing short-term rental business. CDD4 Board Chairman Cliff Weiner said a developer has the power to take action with regard to short-term rentals, but he won't. Supervisor Jim Murphy said he wishes a developer would listen to residents with regard to the problem. They should have a forum once a month so the residents could talk to the developer. He would sell tickets because that's more money in his pocket. Supervisor Carrie Sternberg said that isn't likely to happen. Well, Carrie is telling you the truth. The only one who can deal with this is the developer. The history shows us that they won't do anything. It's not their benefit to do anything, Sternberg said. I am as frustrated as you are seeing these businesses, whether it be Airbnb or golf cart shops operating in our community. That's exactly right. I've said that 100 times. It isn't to his benefit to do anything because the more people he can get to come in here and buy homes, specifically as an investment, and rent them out and then sell them later down the road, he sells more homes, there's more homes to be bought, the demand is greater, he makes more money. He's not going to do anything. A villager in a golf cart was arrested on a drunk driving charge after straying onto El Camino Real. Ooh. You'll get killed out there. Janine Renee Robka, 45, of the village of Santiago. See, that pisses me off. 45 years old and living in the Villages. I don't know if she owns a home or not, but I was turned down twice in my 40s buying a home here, a summer home. I never planned on renting it out. I just wanted to have a summer home or a winter home or a vacation home, whatever you want to call it. Place where my mom and dad could go in the wintertime, really. And they told me no, I wasn't old enough. Twice. She was driving a golf cart with an Illinois license plate on Thursday night when she was spotted on El Camino Real, where golf carts traffic is not permitted. The golf cart was occasionally slowing down to a speed of about 5 miles per hour during a traffic stop. Rapka said she was trying to get home. I bet she was. It appeared Rapka, who had been arrested in April on a drunk driving charge at a grocery store in the Villages, had been drinking. She struggled through field sobriety exercise and provided breath samples that registered, 0.318 and 0.325 blood alcohol content. Because of her severe level of intoxication, she was taken to the UF Health freestanding emergency room clinic at Brownwood. Once the New Jersey native was medically cleared, she was booked without bond at the Sumter County Detention Center. Keep her for a while, because apparently she ain't learned a thing. How about a couple letters to the editor? To the editor, there is a real shortage of handicap parking at Lake Sumter Landing. 2 spaces in the whole square. In addition to the existing 2 spaces, at least 1 more should be added on each side of the parking area. That's sent in by Gilda Carrillo from the village of Largo. If you go back to the editor, we have been warned that the new Shallow Creek Golf Club is actually a November till April golf course. Play really early, bring lots of water, and an umbrella. Not one bit of shade for miles. That's sent in by Mike Sanger from the village of St. Charles. Well, Mike, that's probably true. Matter of fact, I don't doubt it a bit. I've seen it here many, many times. Slowly but surely, Mike, you'll start seeing trees being planted there as time goes on. It just takes a while. They'll close down 9 for some reason or another for maintenance. Next time you play it, you'll just notice things like, oh, look, there's some palm trees planted around that sand trap. Oh, look, they planted some more stuff over here. It takes time, but I'm sure you'll see it sooner or later. To the editor, I agree 100% that there has to be a cap on our amenity fees. Why do you think there are so many of these seniors that are working at Walmart, Publix, and Winn-Dixie? It's because they need the extra income just to survive. All the Morse family is concerned with is sales. That is sent in by Gillian Beck from the village of Rio Grande. So, amenity fee caps, I'd like to see it too, but I'm not on the inside. I'm on the outside looking in. I don't know what's involved as far as amenity fees and how they're figured and what determines the rate. I just don't know. But I do know that when villages are smaller and Harold was alive and he was running things and Spanish Springs was the only square there was, everything that I'm seeing today, and maybe I'm just being cynical, but I never saw any of that. I never saw so many people drunk the way they are. I never saw amenity fees rising like all the time. I mean, yeah, they went up, but it's like, went from $75 to maybe $80 or something like that. And that's it. It was nothing to go to the movie theater up there at Spanish Springs, and you'll see women's purses hanging on the steering wheel or some personal items on the seat. Nobody took anything. And now, don't leave your key in a golf cart, right? So things are changing with population size. Some people say, well, that's to be expected. I say, and I know I'm going to get some criticism for this, that ain't nothing but an excuse for bad behavior. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the news. That'll be the news for this week. I may not be able to do next week. I don't know. I'm on a little trip to Indiana. So if you ever considered sponsoring our channel, or at least supporting our channel, you can do it a lot of different ways. The easiest way is become a member. You can be a Patreon member for $2 a month, or you can be a top level member at $25 a month, and anywhere in between. Or you can be a YouTube member. And the YouTube member, I believe, starts at $5 a month. So either or, we appreciate all of the help, all the members that we got. Like I've said before, you guys know by now that if you become a Patreon member, you'll get access to our private Discord channel. So if you need more villages in your life, the Discord is where you need to be. There's a lot of people on there, and you can ask them their opinions about things, and they'll be glad to talk to you. And then when we have our members' lunch, you'll get the invitation to where, when, and what time. So with that being said, be well, stay safe, stay healthy, be aware,
and don't leave that key in the golf cart.
Because I want to see you on the other side. This week's news is brought to you by my Patreon and YouTube members. Thanks, guys. You're the best.